Calling because the CFPB account that I have, Diego, has been locked.
Right, yes. I do understand why this would be very frustrating. And so the account is currently locked. If you'll give me just a brief 1 to 2 minute hold while I see what information I can provide about this situation.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Thank you. One moment, please. Excuse me. And thank you for holding. My apologies for the delay. Now, just be sure that I have this correct. When uh, when it when you tried to log in, it did say that you were locked out. Is that right?
Now, I've gone through procedures with at least five of the employees that answer the phone number here, where when I called originally, it was because when I logged into my CFB account with my regular information that I've used since 2018, it reads, enter the code to verify your email address. To help us protect your privacy, we need you to verify your email address. Enter the numbers from the verification code we sent to zorrirush at hotmail.com, and I have not gotten the code. I've had two of the representatives at CFPB hang up the phone when they could not resolve the issue when they attempted to send me emails with passwords. So someone at CFPB has blocked my email address.
Right. Now, okay. Give me one moment, please.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Now, now,
That old TARP
unfortunately,
funding was for emergencies. I thought everything that came through CFPB that qualified for public monitoring was considered to be an emergency. But when I got five people to hang up on me before I got you on the phone, I said, "Oh, we're now hiding the emergencies." The United States is using my name to hide emergencies.
that's
Bad.
I don't think that's
Bad,
what's happening
bad,
here.
bad, bad. I'm American. I don't know where you're from, but in America, your government doesn't get to do that. They don't get to take your name and commit crimes. They don't get to do that.
That's now, unfortunately, if you haven't received the emails that we sent you,
That means
not much
CFB a
I can do.
CFBP PB employee has gone into your internal system, and in the area that blocks communications, that person has entered the email address zorrirush at hotmail.com. What that means, I've worked in the industry for nearly 20 years. So, what that means is your CFPB would need to find that employee, find out why that employee did what he did, undo what that employee did if it is required to be undone, and then restore the account. Now, I understand what needs to happen. What I'm not understanding at this point is why CFPB is not doing that. Why they're still trying to get me to perform menial tasks over the phone, because I know at this point that we've gone through all those procedures. I know the only thing that could have happened is for a CFPB employee to actually have gone in and placed my email address on a block list of email addresses in order for this to happen.
All right. Now, can see if I can see anything in
You
your
wouldn't.
account,
You wouldn't if you're
please.
just answering the phone to provide general information. You wouldn't. It would need to be the person who actually created the system that makes it do that. Do you know what makes it do that? What makes it come up to say enter the code to verify your email address? Do you know what prompts that?
No.
Okay, well, the
Now,
person who made that prompt does. When you say the person who made that prompt knows why that
now,
prompt came up?
now, yes, but
But,
unfortunately,
uh huh.
we don't have access to whoever did make the system.
Okay, who does?
That, I
Let me be clear,
tell you,
sir. Let me be clear, sir. The funding is for emergencies that was extended by the government of the United States on the fact that it claimed we were experiencing an economic emergency. The TARP funding, Troubled Asset Relief Program, that funds you. That means that if there is any inoperable complaint that alerts the United States government that there is activity on a troubled asset, then that affects the entire population. So if this may not just be happening, even though this may just be happening to me, with that being your job duty, not mine, what you are getting paid with the top TARP funding to do, it just seems to me it would be more of a concern for you to find resolution with urgency than it would be for me. Because I've just explained to you and you've just understood how someone that you don't even know who it is has created a system that blocks the entire population of the United States from at least viewing one threat. This could be just one threat. It may be multiple threats, but someone has blocked the entire United States from watching the process of that threat, that troubled asset. So that's what I'm
um,
calling about. I know you guys are looking at it as just like it's a blocked account and it's just his, but it's not. It's the United States government's website that's supposed to be used to inform the public about emergencies and for the public to inform the government about emergencies. So what are we doing about that?
we take complaints from anyone who has a complaint. It can be as
So
simple
you're
as
saying
a
that
person
this
has not
issue
communicated with a stranger.
this issue of locking this account would be a complaint that the person who has the account locked would have to file. You as an
Yes,
employee are not obligated to alert someone that someone has called you and gone through this process, and that you're not obligated to do that. You pass that TARP funding liability on to the people of the United States.
sir, I do not know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Now, I can't see if there's anything on your account that we have access to, but as far as emails not getting to you, my apologies, but it could be any number of things. And unfortunately, I don't have the tools to.
And you're satisfied with getting a paycheck knowing that. You're satisfied with getting a paycheck knowing that someone called and told you they're not getting the emails that are necessary to open an account to alert the government to threats against the national economy. You're fine with getting a paycheck doing that job.
I'm
I know that.
And
I know that. You don't have a means of resolving the issue that prevents one individual from informing the government of threats against the economy through the CFPB portal. You don't have,
now you can.
and to be clear, it doesn't. You will be fine with ending this phone call and taking another call, knowing about that vulnerability to a United States citizen and its government. You would be fine with that. You think it's okay to do that.
So you can always use another email address if it cannot be sent to that one. And if you do need to get the status of a complaint, you
For
can
those who
use
don't understand, by using a different email address, that I would lose all access to the information that was stored on the previous email address. Just for clarity, what is being coerced at the very moment is for me to suffer the injury of property loss by changing my email address to a different address.
now
All right, so that's your solution
now
to the consumer. Any other consumer that's in my situation is to be coerced into losing the property that was filed on the original email. You that is the
now
advice.
now we can also send you copies of any complaints you do have on file as well. There are ways around this unfortunate circumstance, but we can do our best to give you any information
You do
required.
understand this is about access to the CFPB portal, deprived access to the CFPB portal that you have access to, that the knowing public, as such as myself, being able to perform tasks as quickly and as easily as our own government. That meaning you have it, whatever ability you have, I have. That means if you can print out the CFPB complaints, then I can print out the CFPB complaints. What you're now telling me is the only solution, the next solution that you have is to for me to accept being deprived of the equal access to the electronic communication that I have called in to request, and to settle for the paper or whatever the alternative is that you have to replace the services that are being funded under TARP. That's what you're offering, is for me to settle for the deprivation of the right to have access to the same services as my government. You're asking me to deprive myself of that right and to accept these complaints on paper. Is that what you're asking?
If that is an unsatisfactory answer,
I'm
then
asking
I
you
do
what you're
apologize.
asking me, sir. I'm asking you what is, to be clear on what you're asking me. Are you asking me to deprive myself of the right to have access to the CFPB portal that would be equitable to what my government has, so that you can send me paper documents?
Now, now you can also, once you do have another address, it would be showing up as a duplicate person. You can, there are mechanisms to merge those accounts, but you would need to make that report.
Make what report?
Well, if there are two, to make the report that there are two entities with the exact same information or the same person.
What two entities that are the exact same person that what are you talking about?
If system, but if you do make another account, we could merge the old account with the new one, so you would have access to all your previous complaints.
So, so I can make another account now,
Would,
and you can merge it with the old account.
if it does come to that.
Well, let's do it. I mean, I didn't log into the accounts because I didn't want to see what's there. It's an emergency to me. I assumed it'd be emergency to my government since it was emergency funding. And if since this is an emergency, let's log into the account. So I'm doing that now.
Now, now, unfortunately, I wouldn't be able to assist you while you used our self-service portal.
Unfortunately, sir, I am not able to assist you with evading liability for the purpose of my phone call. I called you because my access to the account was obstructed. If someone is paying you to get off the phone while knowing that you're going to continue to receive income after someone told you their
If you would like
accessibility,
to
go
report this to
ahead.
the
You interrupt
Inspector
me
General, you
and
are
go
free to do
ahead.
so.
Uh huh.
If you if you wish to report us to the Inspector General, you are free to do so.
Okay, are you providing me with legal advice? Because what I was
No.
attempting to do was merge the accounts, and I have not been given any information on how to do so. And now what I have on the phone is a person who's telling me to go an alternative route than merging the accounts. But go ahead. You
As
want me?
as
You're advised rather than me go through the process of merging the accounts while you're on the phone, as you've just suggested I
would
do.
not be
Since you
I would
said,
not be able
what
to
is
do that
my
since you're on the phone.
alternative?
It is a separate process,
Go ahead.
and it is not something. And it is not something. There now. So first off, did you make a separate account?
Uh, Sir, am not multitasking at the time. I'm taking the routes that are available to me. And as I understood it, you were getting off the phone because I was making another account because you said you weren't allowed, you weren't paid to do that. So I was all, and again, I'm attempting to merge the accounts so that I gain access to the accounts, which is why I called you. And I'm going through the procedures that you are making available to me over the phone.
Now, all right. So that is not something that I would be able to do immediately. It is not something that is done immediately. The account must first be created with, and then it must be made known to us that there is an account with duplicate information. Now,
I'm
you can
making
contact
it.
us about.
I'm making.
First, you would need.
Again, as I told you earlier, I was making the account when you said that you couldn't stay on the phone for me to make the account and merge the account, as you said is the solution. So the only means of me being able to do this is
And
to be coerced through the procedure of resolving the issue with another individual. Now, I have this email that says enter the code sent to the email address Zorri Rush Met Who. which is my alternative email address.
Right? That is.
I have a CFPB verification code to that email address, which also proves
Correct.
that the email address zorrirush@hotmail.com has been blocked intentionally by a CFPB employee since this email address is clearly working.
Sir, these systems are not
Yes,
perfect.
I do apologize. I didn't hear the deniability. Can
These
you do that
systems are
again?
not. These systems are not perfect, and
Oh, I
if
never
you
said.
give me,
I wasn't getting into what's the imperfection that I am seeing, sir, and that you are failing to acknowledge because you're generating revenue from it. Is that this is my fifth call to you to resolve this, and the first time we've gotten to this step, and all those times I spoke to humans.
now,
Uh huh.
sir,
Yes. Now, this page is loading. It claims that I've logged into the CFPB complaint portal with the email address zorrirushmetwho@gmail.com. Are you now still unable to merge the two accounts?
now, so okay. Before anyone can do that, you must be made known that both accounts have the exact same information. We need to fill out the information for that account and uh, make sure it's the same information that was on your other account. Email, not email, uh, name, phone number, and an address. Once we're made known of that issue, we can submit that report that is a duplicate person, and hopefully ensure that both both accounts are made in sync. Now, unfortunately, I wouldn't be able to do that right now, as as since the account has no information on it.
It has the information that I just entered into it.
All right. If you can give me your first and last name.
Zorri Rush.
Just be sure I have this correct. That is Z as in Zulu, O as in Oscar, R as in Romeo, R as in Romeo, I as in India. Is that correct?
You have it.
And your last name, R as in Romeo, U as in uniform, S as in Sierra, H as in hotel. Is that correct?
You have it. I love your German references and your
Now,
European and your European ones.
now, now, what is the first email that you used?
ZorriRush@hotmail.com.
And may I please have your mailing address?
6912 Mount Vernon Road, Eupora, Mississippi 39744.
Okay. And what is the email used for your second one?
It's my first and last name, metwho@gmail.com. That's ZorriRushMetwho@gmail.com. By the way, what's your name again?
There you go.
Diego? Diego, is that right?
Yes. Now, phone number?
662-753-1249.
Okay, thank you. Now, now, uh,
God, I miss my job.
so, alright, now, for, just to make sure that I can do this properly, please update, Zorri Rush met who with, your mailing address.
So you're entering the information that I just entered to merge the accounts? You're doing the same thing that I just did?
No, no. I am making a report that there are duplicate
Oh,
accounts and someone else will merge them. That is why I called it a report. Now, one moment.
a rapport. A rapport. We have a rapport. I don't buy genocide. I don't sell genocide. I am not interested in genocide. This faggot
Now,
sell genocide. We don't have no rapport. I'm trying to throw this bitch in goddamn prison for fucking treason because he's a fucking faggot. Period.
so for the time being, I would not be able to do what I had said because there is no overlapping information besides his name. Now,
I do apologize. Let me be clear on what you just say. You're saying there's the information on the account from Zorri Rush at Hotmail and the information from Zorri Rush met who at Gmail is not the same. The address is not the same and the phone numbers are not the same. Is that what you're telling me?
now for on your account here for Zorri Rush, we don't have a phone number, and on
Both of them should be Zorri Rush because I'm both people.
yes, now yes, but let me see here.
I'm,
Are you
I'm asking you what you just said to me. You just said
that
that there was no that there was no the information on the
oh
two accounts that you used some term to describe a response that you got about what was on the two accounts. And all I asked you was, is are you telling me that the response that you're getting is that the address is not 6912 Mount Vernon Road on both of them, and the phone number is not 662-753-1249 on both of them? Is that what you're saying to me?
yes, it is
Okay,
for one.
then someone
Of
has
course, we don't have
again,
any other.
sir. I don't know why we're going through this. Someone in your building is committing fraud. You're on the phone with me now. This is the time where you contact someone of higher authority and alert them that the person who has created both of these accounts and attempting to get access to these accounts is on the phone at the moment giving me the information that proves what the system just told me was false. So you need to find the person who sent you the message that said, don't you know that message is false? Let me just ask you plainly. Don't you enter the information. Don't you know that those two accounts are duplicates? The only thing that's different, that should be different after you enter them, don't you know that the only thing that should be different is the email addresses? Don't you know that?
I I did not input any information. Now, I can still
This is how you get
volunteer
genocide. You just
report,
don't
but
answer the question. Now, I grew up with this. Now, you heard him, and you heard me read it. Both the number and the email address. You also do not hear
one
this
moment.
fucking faggot
If you want
answer
me to
the
make a report
question. Do you
investigating
see that that's fraud?
using the information that we do have,
Can you say that again?
I'm going to make the report anyway with the information that we do have.
You're going to make a new report?
I did not make a report in the first place.
Oh, I
I'm
do
making a
apologize.
report right
So
now.
you are the individual that looks at the two accounts and you don't see the duplicate information of the address and the name and the phone number. You are the one that made that determination?
Yes, I looked
You
into their
are.
account and saw that there were.
Sir, I am asking you now, before you may, I do want you to make the report. I am asking you now what the procedures are for reporting fraud inside Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, because it
You would
to me,
you would
I mean, even if you don't, if since I'm locked out of the account and I can't see what information is input there, I know I have a right to it under the Freedoms of Information Act and the Administrative Procedures Act. I have a right to inspect the records that are under my name to see what address is there and what phone number is there and why and when it was changed and who changed it. So what are the procedures for me to do that?
I can't. So you would need to contact the Inspector General. You can report an issue of alleged government fraud, waste, or abuse by contacting the Inspector General.
Okay. And
Contact the
the only means of identifying the information on the other account is is through a is through
is
the
verified.
office is through the office of Inspector General. No one at CFPB is allowed to assist me on the phone or in whatever process that complies with the Administrative Procedures Act. No one is allowed to assist me at CFPB with inspecting the records to see what information is used on the Zorri Rush at Hotmail account. No enforcement
Now,
procedure to protect my
now
rights there.
I can give you the information
You can.
since the verified.
Okay,
You were
you
verified
you
name,
ver-
your name.
how
I have your name here.
how have you verified me? By
I
my,
asked for your the first and last name, your email, and your address.
and that allows you to give me information on the CFPB Zorri Rush at Hotmail account. You give anyone that has that information can get information and login assistance with the Zorri Rush at Hotmail or either account.
Well, not either account. There's different information on them.
I mean, but that's all the information that you need to get access to either of those accounts is a name, address, and telephone number, and that's your verification process,
and the email.
and an email. And anyone with that information can get access to my personal CFPB accounts.
That is the information we use to verify people in. Now,
Word
number to the
semantics.
Inspector General is 800.
Oh, sir, I'm good, man. I just told you I knew about the Administrative Procedures Act, which is also known probably to you as the Privacy Act. You already know I have already filed a complaint against you. Right now, this is evidence of retaliation by CFPB. Because I filed a complaint against CFPB, CFPB has blocked one of my accounts and refused to investigate why the account was blocked. They are actually paying employees. Employees have been trained not to give me access to the account. You are actually going through it right now. You we've been on the phone for 38 minutes, and for 38 minutes since I filed a complaint against CFPB, for 38 minutes, you have been on the phone trained on how not to get access to this account. I don't know whether you know that's what you're doing or not, but that's what the result of 38 minutes has been, is that you've been going through all the procedures that you are taught, and I still am being having the retaliation from filing a complaint against CFPB. Now, I can't say you know what you're doing, but I can't change the fact that that's what's happening. So now that we're here, you submit that. What's the process after you submit this report?
It will be handled by our back office, and hopefully the accounts will be merged. Now then, if it's determined that these aren't duplicate accounts, they won't be merged.
I asked what the process is, sir. That's pretty much self-explanatory.
I do not know what the process is. This is
So there is now an open-ended time for when you investigate what I am now calling retaliation for me filing a Consumer Financial Protection Bureau complaint. There is now an open-ended time to when CFPB has to actually investigate why I don't have access to the other account.
Sir, I do not know what you're talking about.
Okay.
I am going to assist you in any way that I can.
Okay.
Now, if there is nothing else that I can help you with, do you have any other questions? Any other
I just want to
concerns?
clarify that I asked you if there was an open-ended time frame for when the company responds to when this merging is supposed to happen, and I want to clarify that Diego says that he does not understand that question, and now he wants to get off the phone. Do you understand that I still don't have access to my account, Diego?
Now, there is an open time frame. I unfortunately do not know when that
It's okay, Diego.
this will be.
Diego. I think what we've done here is satisfactorily identified you as a waterboarding terrorist. I think so. What do you think?
Sir,
Yes. Yes.
Did you
I
explain?
called you a waterboarding terrorist.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
And do you believe that will help anything?
Well, I think me marking the conversation with the reality of what's actually occurring is going to help me protect my property forever because it'll be protected under my words and not yours. So you have control of the
I understand.
electronic words. I have control of the reality. And in the reality, when you take control and try to deprive me of what's in the electronic words and you go through all of this, I have still the opportunity to prove and collect evidence that you are a waterboarding terrorist.
Now then, um, um, let me see here. I'm still finding this report. Um,
Funded by the Troubled Asset Relief Program.
Now,
Could also be called JP
is
Morgan
there anything that I can
Chase.
do to help? I do apologize for any inconvenience this has caused.
It's a U.S. dollar, sir. I'm letting you spend it now. So you
Now,
spend it however
to
you
find more
want.
information at Consumer
Yeah,
Finance Director,
you did you
press
hear me
1 for
ask you if I
information.
do I, do you believe that I have access to my CFPB account?
No, which is why I'm trying
Okay.
to assist.
All right. All right. Well, you do what they pay you with the United States dollar. You do what they pay you to do with that United States dollar. You do that right now.
Now then, thank you for calling the CFPB. I do hope you have a nice day.
Thank you for participating in this short optional survey about your call today to the Bureau. Your feedback is important to us. This survey has been approved under the Paperwork Reduction Act of 1995 by the federal government's Office of Management and Budget and is assigned OMB control number 3170-0024. Without this OMB control number, we could not conduct this survey. The survey is voluntary and will only take 3 minutes. Your participation in the survey has no impact on your complaint. For this survey, you will be using your telephone
Yeah, I
keypad to
think market
respond to
calls
4
that the
statements.
regulatory crackdown was somehow
Press 1 to
behind us.
5 after
I
a
think it was
statement to
remarkably
tell us how
premature, if not just
satisfied
flat
you
out
were with
wrong.
today's call.
What we're
On a
seeing is
scale
that
of
the
1 to 5,
regulatory
where
crackdown
5 means
provisions designed to
completely
strictly control
satisfied
the
and
sector
1 means
is
completely
simply
dissatisfied,
evolving. It's going from taking
press
these big
star if you
measures,
need to hear a
anti-monopoly,
statement
antitrust
again.
measures as they
Press
build them,
1 to
and now
begin.
going into a bigger role into the active management of these companies, especially as we've seen
Sorry,
through them
I
taking
didn't get
golden
that.
shares,
Please
which
try
allow
again.
them
Thank you for
a position on
participating
the
in this
board,
short
which help
optional
them make
survey about your
decisions
call
rather, give them
today
the
to the
ability to
Bureau.
make decisions.
Your
So I think
feedback is important
the
to us.
landscape's actually getting
This survey has been approved under the Paperwork Reduction Act of 1995 by the federal government's Office of Management and Budget and is assigned OMB control number 3170-0024. Without this OMB control number, we could not conduct this survey. The survey is voluntary and will only take 3 minutes. Your participation in the survey has no impact on your complaint. For this survey, you will be using your telephone keypad to respond to 4 statements.
This was around the Lunar New
Press
Year,
1 to
and
5
compared to
after a
just the
statement
absolute
to tell us
bloodbath
how
in the prior 3
satisfied you
months
were with
of
today's
Q4
call.
2022, just
On a scale of 1 to 5,
better.